So how concerned should we be now that Hawaii has its first case of the Omicron variant?
Joining us live to continue the conversation is Dr. Scott Miscovich of Premier Medical Group Hawaii. Doctor, thank you so much for your time tonight. Now, most people assume that we would eventually see this variant make its way to the islands, but talk about the timing. Are you surprised to see it right now?
Wow, I really am. I know when we talked last week, I was saying this is the most concerning thing to me as a person who's lived my life helping to fight COVID. And I was really expecting it would be a little bit longer. Now, there's a few issues I want to bring up that make this almost a sentinel type case for the United States. And what we're getting from our Department of Health is that one thing, as you stated, this is a case where there was no travel. So that means there are more cases here in the state of Hawaii. The second issue, very concerning for the United States and the world, is this individual had a prior COVID infection, which is paralleling what we're getting coming out of South Africa. That prior infection immunity is not supporting and fighting off the Omicron variant, which is concerning. That data is very concerning.
So this person was not vaccinated. As you mentioned, he or she had this COVID before and got over it. Symptoms are said to be mild. So does that tell you anything at all?
We have to be very careful about using the word symptoms. Remember, symptoms are runny nose, cough, congestion. What we're looking for, and we're more concerned, is the amount of effects it's having on the internal part of the body. Is it getting into the lungs? Is there any blood clotting? The report came that this person is moderately ill. See, that is different than symptoms. So you could be ill but not have a lot of runny nose. And that same thing came out of South Africa, but it's being verified right now that, for example, their hospital rates have gone up like 6 times in a period of 4 weeks. So, that's the key to us. Is it going to affect our elderly or immunosuppressed or people with prior conditions?
And do you expect to see more cases of this variant popping up? And if so, how soon?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if people were out there getting tested, this person caught this from someone that's already here. And then if we are aggressively doing contact tracing, we're going to find that there was some kind of travel association. Most of us believe we were going to see the first cases come through New York or Los Angeles because that's where we had nonstop flights coming in from South Africa and that area. But at this point, as we're seeing it now in 5 states, we expect this to be everywhere. And it's going to continue to spread.
Another major topic, Doctor, right now is the contaminated water affecting families at Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam. Now, if the water has been tainted by fuel, what kind of health problems can it cause, and what should people do if they feel sick?
Basically, I mentioned to you both that this is something I have a little experience with in some of my travel and healthcare through Kenya and my work in Africa, where we were putting in water wells and we were doing testing of the water supply. And that forced us to basically be doing a lot of research on contaminated water. So the question really is, what you have in the water is something called a hydrocarbon, and hydrocarbons are mostly going to give you neurologic symptoms: headache, dizziness, maybe some tingling. You can get some rashes. But on longer term exposure, the biggest effect of a hydrocarbon is anemia. It can affect the way your body makes blood cells. So right now, from what I can see, we do not know how long this exposure has been going on, but I think clearly we don't want to assume anything, right? It was you could smell it, that people could taste it, but has it been in the water supply for a more chronic period of time? So there probably should be some healthcare testing and some sentinel blood work that is being done, looking at people's blood counts. And if people are drinking that water supply and have neurologic symptoms, that should be one of the things they look for. Now, how's it treated? In most cases, if it's mild, you have to stop it and go to another water supply. I do want to qualify that it takes quite a bit of ingestion of that water. One of the studies that we always looked at coming out of Nigeria was that people had 1,800 times the normal level, and they still survived. and yet there's the long-term concentration would possibly make you more predisposed to cancers. I don't want to cause any alarm. You really have to have a lot of exposure to get that.
And doctor, really quick before we wrap up, if people are feeling symptoms and are worried about potential exposure, at what point do they go to the doctor or even the ER, or do they just kind of wait it out at home?
I would say go to your family doctor. I really, really doubt that there's anybody that's probably going to qualify or have symptoms related to this that should send them to the ER. They make good decisions, go to the ER if they're worried. But if it's coming to my office or coming to a doctor's office, we're going to do a full blood panel. We're going to be looking for signs of the blood being changed by anemia, which would give us a clue. And then we can also do blood panels to detect these types of elements in your blood. So it is able to be detected. So call your regular doctor, family doctor, and look for, an evaluation and a blood panel.
Okay, doctor, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much again for your time. Dr. Scott Miscovich of Premier Medical Group, Hawaii.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.